Did you know that most Black businesses provide goods and services for wants, not needs? Did you know that? Things we need. We need Black owned, Black founded pharmacies with Black pharmacists and pharmacy techs. Do you know Hispanics have only Spanish speaking pharmacies with only Spanish speaking pharmacists, pharmacy techs, and they provide health education based on cultural norms for that population? That's something we need within the Black community. And the pharmacy could sell natural supplements, things that would help in education, and maybe get a partnership with the local chef or someone to start doing little meal prepping and things. And then the chef could get with the small business association to learn how they can bill Medicaid, Medicare, to be able to provide meals that meet their dietary needs, and it's covered by their health insurance. That kind of contract, just for the shelf alone, we talking about tens of millions in a couple years. And then with the pharmacy, they're gonna be doing numbers nonstop. Once people, Black people, find out there's a Black pharmacy that's culturally educated and know how to help them and communicate with them to help them with their health and help them understand what their insurance cover and help them understand in a way they can connect with culturally competent pharmacies, excuse me. Man, that would make so much money, it wouldn't make no sense. They would start being a whole chain in less than 5 years. Because one thing big pharma gonna do, big pharma gonna always be big money. Yeah, that's what they need to start calling big pharma, big money grip, because it sure got the country in a grip. I don't know nobody who don't take some kind of medicine for something. Or some kind of ointment, splints, um, all kinds of things related to health. We need Black pharmacies, Black, not just Black owned. We need Black pharmacies. And I wonder why all these people on social media helping each other and boycotting, they never thought about that. Mm. We also need Black butcher shops and meat markets. I'm not talking about the ones in the hood because they look unsanitary. I'm talking about modern ones with top tier meats and accept SNAP EBT benefits, accept different types of benefits depending on what kind of funding people working with, right? And even they could set up little meat boxes, not no generic meat boxes that rip people off, but one for people who living with gout, help them avoid high cholesterol foods, one for people with diabetes, one for people with hypertension, the big five that impact African American health. Hey, anyway, and also have some of those lesser known cuts of meat that could be used for food and meals, and add provide little healthy recipes in everyone's little bag or on the app or um, on the website. But we need butchers and we need meat markets. That way they can choose meat that's not full of all those chemicals, like a certain big humongous brand that sell groceries that a lot of people go to, that pretty much do everything in that store. You know which one I'm talking about. It has blue. Okay, that's all I got to say. But we sure could use some meat markets because they could get us better quality meat that's not full of chemicals, and that would definitely help heal the community. I tell you, that would sure heal the community. We also need non-traditional schools for African American males starting in first grade. And what I deem non-traditional schools, the schools would be designed in the following manner. Here's a rough idea. They would educate the children by navigating them through the process of preparing to be business owners, preparing to be college students, and preparing to be citizens, right? Those would be their three pillars. And in working, they would learn reading, writing, English, life skills, all of that. So those schools would be teaching them about budgeting, banking, all of that as young as first grade boys, so they can build their confidence and their identity from positive interactions. Entire school need to be black men, teachers, security guards, because they got to have them nowadays. All of them, they would need to, they would have to be African American males, the nurses, so that they can build community and understand how to communicate with each other. Counselors, all of them African American males, so that way they're interacting with positive male role models who are at various ages and stages of their life, personally and professionally, right? And we need to do non-traditional schooling for our little black and brown little boys. I think that's the only way, the only interventions that will work. Pretty much, we would start our own little boys' school. Yeah, school for boys, but not like reform schools, but schools for boys. That sure would be good. Hmm. I wonder why we don't have any black-owned medical supply companies. I'm not talking about the ones who distribute and they go and do deliveries and put it in the mail. No, I'm talking about why no one black sat down and made their own black, blood pressure cuffs or gauze or something modern like that. They too busy trying to make makeup, get white label makeup. Well, why you not getting no white label medical supplies? We could sure use those, especially at all those community health events we be hosting. Whew, that would sure make a lot of money, especially billing, Medicaid, Medicare, anybody else, private insurance, all of them. Hit them up. We could sure use that black business. I thought about it. All that money we boycotted from Target, they could have started a whole bank. They could have started a whole bank. I'm not talking about like little scammer bank commercials we be seeing, but I'm talking about a solid bank that would offer lines of credit and all kinds of things to black businesses. It would just be for businesses, business accounts only. Black bank, black owned, black funded. We could have started a mutual fund with all that money. Hmm. Hmm. That sure would have been nice. That would have helped a lot. It would help some if we had black businesses that had those contracts for things like vocational rehab and things. That would help a lot because we have so many people living with conditions and they just don't have enough vendors for vote rehab. Uh, Bottom line is they just don't have enough of them. And no matter how many contracts once entity may acquire, they still not wiping everyone out. There's still plenty of room for everyone else to play. I'm just saying. Any black inventions that impact uh, children and adults living with autism? That would be nice. First black owned company that design digital signs and all of that, put their own mark on it. They're gonna spin on it for black advertising, black marketing. Yeah, you can get those all kinds of places, different cities and everything to connect with the population. Yeah, I'm not talking about just some urban mess, but I'm talking about just black creative spaces and Utilize this all up and down these highways. They have all kinds of billboard space. Whew. Imagine if you own billboards. We could sure use those. Those are still an effective way of marketing and advertising, believe it or not, because people are always driving. And so when they driving, they're not looking on their phone, but they do look at billboards, especially if they're digital. Lamar don't have to get everybody money. I'm just saying. And there are a lot of them that's been abandoned. I'm sure somebody could get those for the cheap. Mm, that would be nice. We need more black construction firms to compete for some contracts to build affordable houses. And we also need more black developers as well who would build tiny houses to help with the housing crisis. That would be nice. We sure need more black inventors for things that what people need: food, water, shelter, and clothing. Going into those, we still don't have a high representation for those. We have a lot of representation for food as far as fast food, but we don't have enough black businesses in the grocery stores. So everybody wanted to be in Target for clothes once, but we don't have enough black businesses and brands in the grocery stores. Everybody want to do something like a sauce or something like that. You could have been doing, everybody always talking about meal prep and meal planning. You could have started your own brand of meal prepping and meal planning and slap them jokers right in somebody's grocery store or sell them out of your local meat market or partner with a local healthy restaurant that you sell meal prep food. That would that would be really good, and you would be giving back. You would be improving health, and you would be making a boatload of money at the same time too. Hmm. That would have been nice. I wonder why nobody thought of these things before. Hmm. Well, that's unfortunate. People don't think about creative ideas if they know you don't read information and you don't study information. And that's how people like Jamal Bryant gets away with what he's doing. People don't vet information. People don't research nothing. And he knows that. People like him know that. And before I go, let's touch on something real quick. So I saw don't get me to fibbing. I saw someone's video um thumbnail and it showed like Bishop Jakes beefing with Ebenard Jordan, Ebenard Jordan beefing with Jakes or something like that about who spend more money or something like that. But how can anyone ignore that Jakes in this whole legal thing and Bernard's still taking swipes at him? So my question, legitimate question, because at one time Reed had got in the middle of that in a way because he was windmilling for his mentor. Honey, he was nug if you bug about his mentor, right? But my sincere question, what in the world could cause two men to be fighting as hard? What is it really, really about? Because it's not about Manasseh. Because if it was about Manasseh, then Manasseh the fault. Because I'm gonna tell you something. Jake's didn't send for Manasseh. Manasseh showed up at Jake's church. I was watching that Sunday. Manasseh was at Jake's church, and Jake's looked shocked, like, "What are you here and why are you here?" And he acknowledged him, but you could see it on Jake's face. He was like, "What is he doing here? Why not with his daddy?" You get what I'm saying? So he was shocked, but he did what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to, welcome your guests. But anyway, so my question is, what are they really, really beefing about between those two? Because I know Ebenard Jordan, you know, New York circle, it's real. That go back to Reverend Ike. It's real, right? And it's a lot of money. I just put it that way. I think one of the dinners he had, I think the plate like per seat it was like $5,000 or $10,000 per person in order just to have a meal there. If I'm not mistaken, Bernard Jordan had a pass into the UN at one point to provide prophecies and things like that to them. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong. But what I'm getting to is that in modern time, within the past 36 months, what is really causing the beef with Jordan and Bishop Jakes? Because after the Whitehead thing, all of a sudden those two just started beefing hard, bad. I mean, bad. It was really bad. So I'm curious to know what is the beef really about, and then about the guy who's in court with, Bishop Jakes. Who's paying for his legal fees? I know he can't afford them. So who's paying for them? Someone's paying for those legal fees. Who has the wallets and pockets deep enough to pay for that? Now, if it was people who work years and years and they purchased their home, see, a lot of people don't know them lawyers will take your house for payment. If you can't afford to pay them, however you get it up to get them their payment, they'll, you'll go in agreement, they'll take your house. They will take your house as payment. Is your asset, and you can give it to me, your grandma's house, your uncle's house, whoever willing to give me their house for your legal fees, they will take it. I'm just being honest with you. So unless maybe he's a homeowner, and he can afford, but the timing of it is what really, really hurt this guy that's in court with Bishop Jakes. The culmination of everything. And if Jake's legal team decide to show a timeline of these various attacks and how they came, then it's a good chance the case will be thrown out altogether, because it's not hard to see the timeline and put the timeline together, and the associates, the people associated with one another. You get what I'm saying? That these air quotations stories or exposés or allegations were coming from, and it's hard to deny it when it's very clear they are deliberate and targeted attacks. But what was done that led to all of this? Because the bottom line is that out of the two of them, someone's gonna have to tell the truth. What I mean by that, somebody bones and skeletons will be exposed. And it's not going to be pretty. It's not going to be pretty at all. So Bernard Jordan gave millions. Bishop Jakes gave what he did, but you get what I'm saying, for whatever reason, but it wasn't to compete with Jordan. It wasn't even about Jordan. But I just noticed how Jordan and his camp and his supporters make everything Jakes do about them, and that's weird. I'm sorry. That's some weird, creepy stuff right there. Like, it's one thing to have a peeing contest, but when you make what someone else do about you and see that, oh, I'm gonna compete with that, that's weird. I don't care who you are. I don't care how much money you possess. Honey, that's weird. That's weird. I don't care if he would have gave them people $90 million. I don't care if he would have gave them $90,000. I'm not about to turn my black behind around and give them. But I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna give them 19 million. Yeah, I can outspend you. The devil is a liar. The Lord did not bless me to be wasteful. Okay. To do things in pride and use money, which is my blessing, as a weapon. I'll never do that. I'll never do that. Most people. So what is it that will have you responding so emotional and irrational that you are handling your money in that manner. All right. What is this really about? That's what I'm getting down to. Because for it to go this, you have the Michelle Loud girl, you had the it was another one. You had this thing about Manasseh, then you have this thing about this guy that shows up, the felon and stuff. Then you get what I'm saying? These were progressive. It's like, okay, that ain't work, I'll get this. Okay, that ain't work, I'll try this one. Okay, that ain't work. You get what I'm saying? Like, what is this really about? Like, what is it? Because to spill tea on Jakes with Diddy kind of aired Diddy out and exposed, it kind of peeled that orange peel back just enough to get the peeling started. But I tell you one thing, if you think none of this is going to shake down without somebody opening their mouth to the alphabet boys, you are crazy. Because you won't be able to outspin them once they get to talking to them alphabet boys. And don't think that the loyalty is still there of, oh, none of it, we'll go through our thing, but ain't nobody gonna talk to the alphabet boys. You're not paying attention. You don't keep pushing people because you don't know what they're gonna do. You can't keep poking a bear because you don't know how they're gonna get down now. I'm gonna tell you. Now, where I'm from, they had a saying: a scared person will erase you. They'll bring the whole thing down without even thinking about it. So if you want to keep intimidating, threatening, pushing somebody, and walking around foolish enough in your feelings, thinking that it won't come a time when consequences, repercussions, and all of that not going to show up, you think somebody going to keep letting you whoop on them, drive them crazy, and nothing going to happen eventually? Or you just betting on, oh, well, dang, hopefully they'll have a stroke or a heart attack or something, and then that's that. Are you serious? Do you really want to put that out in the atmosphere? Do you really understand that conspiring, having all of these evil thoughts? Do you understand that you can't protect yourself against what you done put out there in the atmosphere? I mean, like, come on now. You're that emotional that you're ignoring the laws of the kingdom. You're ignoring spiritual laws. You're evoking evil. You are evoking death. You are deliberately doing everything you can to cause distress, drama, pain. You're just constantly doing whatever you can. You're in this weapon battle X mode, right? Right? And it never occurred to you. There is no such thing as a one-sided war. There will be a response. But you have to understand, you don't get to decide how they're going to respond and how it's going to be done and what it's going to look like. But I'm pretty sure it's going to look like something you didn't think of yet, because you're using the same formula that regular people use. So that tells me the formula they're going to use is not something that you're thinking about or thought about. But you definitely thinking about them too much that you're not paying attention that they're thinking too. So I just need to know what cut that deep to the meat that have grown men behaving like this. And the crazy part, it's not even about a woman. It's not even about a woman. It's not even about money. It can't be. Because, I know Bishop Jake's like, I ain't wasting my money trying to outspend you and outdo you. And this is getting weird. Something isn't right because it's gotten to the point they're not thinking. They're just doing. So what is it really about? I'm just saying, Joe. Let me get off of here. I can't wait to read your comments because I need to know. I need to know your theories. I'm telling you, I've never seen a bunch of men act like this. This is weird. This whole Jake's Jordan thing, it is weird. It's abnormal. They done showed the picture at the man at the darn party And the freak offs that just pulled that. I mean, let me tell you something. You over there, I trying to outspin somebody, throwing shades, sending little plants, sending, little weapons of mass destruction for litigation, hold them up in court, try to drain their money with court fees. You are not paying attention. While you're doing all of this, you don't know what they're doing, but there will be a response. Not only that, they may not necessarily be the one to respond. Because you don't put all this out. So there has to be a response. That's just that's just spiritual kingdom laws. There will be a response, and it may not necessarily be from him, but it's going to definitely come. So the destruction you want for somebody else, the death you want for somebody else. Yeah. I'm not wishing that on nobody or speaking that on nobody, but the pendulum always swings